What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time we're taking a look at from New York, directed by John Carpenter. I'm going to make this review as short and sweet as I possibly can because I love Escape from New York. This is my second favorite John Carpenter movie, right below The Thing and right at the bottom were Halloween. And pretty much, Escape from New York is sandwiched right in between The Thing and Halloween in terms of my top three favorite John Carpenter movies of all time. I love Escape from New York. I love the look of this movie. I love the story of this movie. I love the cast in this movie. I love John Carpenter's directing in this movie. I love the musical score in this movie. Escape to from New York to me is the perfect sci-fi action movie. This movie is so innovative. It's so creative. Kurt Russell probably plays one of the best on-screen anti-heroes of all time in Snake Plissken, who is straight out of a comic book. Snake Plissken, what can I say about the character of Snake Plissken and Kurt Russell as that character that has not been said before? Snake Plissken is absolutely outstanding as a character, and Kurt Russell's performance in this first movie is outstanding. It's amazing. He brings that stoic, Clint Eastwood esque style to a personality to Snake Plissken, and it fits like a glove. And Kurt Russell is just so badass. Like Russell doesn't have a lot of dialogue in this movie, but he doesn't need dialogue. A lot of Snake Plissken is just people building him up, and just his mannerisms and the way he just and the way Kurt Russell portrays him through body movement and facial expressions and little nuances. That's what makes, to me, Snake Plissken such a memorable character. It's not his dialogue, because when you watch this movie, Russell has very little dialogue in this movie. And like I said, he doesn't need it because Snake Plissken is built more as a myth, as this mythical figure. And Kurt Russell pulls that off perfectly. Not only that, he is boasted by probably one of the best 80s cast in a movie like this. This movie has Lee Van Cleef, who plays a police commissioner named Hauk, who recruits Snake Plissken to go into Manhattan to save the president. And I'm going to get to the story of this moment. And I'm going to get to the story of the movie once I get through the casting. You know, I like the character of Hauk. I like Lee Van Cleef. I think Lee Van Cleef in this movie is great, and I love the scenes with him and Kurt Russell. I like the little rivalry that develops between these two, like tension. But you can also tell that how he does have some admiration and some respect for Pliskin, given his military record and stuff like that. So I like what goes on between those two. Harry Dean Stanton plays a character called Brain, who had a prior relationship with Pliskin. I like Harry Dean Stanton. I like the character of Brain. I like Maggie, who was portrayed by Adrienne Barbeau. No, like Pliskin, Maggie doesn't have a whole lot of dialogue, but she doesn't really need it because she does have some cool moments to herself. And I like and I enjoyed seeing, and Adrienne Barbeau is my '80s crush. I mean, goddamn, that woman in the '80s was. And in this movie, goddamn, she don't need dialogue. She's fine the way she is. She's perfect. Adrienne Barbeau, I love you. You also have Ernest Borgnine, who plays a character called Cabby, and I like the character of Cabby, and I like how the character of Cabby pretty much fanboys over Snake when he first meets him. And I like and I just like Ernest Borgnine. Ernest Borgnine has such a great charisma to him as an actor. Like you can see him in anything, and you can tell the man is just he's enjoying himself in this movie. He's always smiling. It's like Ernest Borgnine's smile is very infectious. Just in general, even in a movie like this, it's very infectious, and he portrays the comic relief in a way, but he's not a cringy comic relief. And I like how he fanboys over Snake because you can tell that he's a fan of Snake. So yeah, no complaints about the Cabby character whatsoever. Now we get on to Donald Pleasance, who plays the President of the United States. I like Donald Pleasance, of course. Who doesn't like Donald Pleasance? Sam Loomis from Halloween. I like him in this movie as well as the President. He doesn't have a lot of scenes, but in the scenes he does have, it means something. The whole story of this movie is Snake has to go into Manhattan, which has been turned into this ginormous prison because the world has crumbled because of crime. So now the United States government has pretty much made their police force and has pretty much militarized the police force, and they cut Manhattan off from a section of the world and turned it into a supermax prison, pretty much. Like all of New York has become a prison, and Kurt Russell has to go into this prison to save the president. And in the scenes that Donald Pleasance is in, I do like it. I liked him in the movie, and I like the end of this movie where he gets to have a little comeuppance for himself when he takes down the Duke. Speaking of which, Isaac Hayes as the Duke, love it. I love the Duke of New York. He doesn't say much, but he doesn't need to. He's just presence. He is a presence. And you can tell that the Duke means business. He's got his posse. He's got everything. He's got the resources you need to be in the Supermax prison. And Isaac Hayes, with the little dialogue that he has and the very limited screen time that he's given, he makes this character so memorable. And I love the Duke. I'm sorry, I love the Duke, and even though he and Pliskin don't have much interaction, I can forgive that. I really can forgive that because this movie, in terms of a writing and in terms of the way it's directed and directed, it makes up for it wholesale. Now that I've gotten all that out of the way, let's talk about it. As I already mentioned, the basic story of this movie is Snake Plissken has to go into the Supermax prison of Manhattan Island to save the president. And right off the bat, the production values of this movie is utterly outstanding. Then again, this movie was pretty much production designed by Joe Alves. And if you don't know the name of Joe Alves, you'll know the movies he made. He's made like Jaws and Jaws 2. So he is a credible name when it comes to production design. How they took East St. Louis and turned it into like a decaying, decrepit, rotting Manhattan is utterly fantastic. Not only that, the use of map paintings and miniatures is breathtaking. It's outstanding. How they made this movie look like a post-apocalyptic. They had very little resources, but they made it work. And that just goes to the talent of John Carpenter and to the talent that he had making this movie. Like everyone who made this movie, they put their heart and souls into wanting to make this movie feel fresh and just feel real, and it does. The post-apocalyptic aesthetic of Manhattan Island just being this wasteland is beautiful. It looks fantastic. It's like Mad Max in a way, and I can't praise it any enough. From a directorial standpoint, the movie's directed by John Carpenter with cinematography by the legendary Dean Cundey. That is an A team, and from a visual standpoint, both of them capture that gritty, futuristic feel of 1997, which is the decade that this movie takes place in. But you can tell that the world has stood still when it comes to Manhattan Island. Like as I had mentioned numerous times already in the review, it's just decrepit. It's just a wasteland, and they captured that perfectly. But then, to pretty much on the side of the same token, when we're in the facility where Houck and his men are, it's very, very neon. It's very, very tech driven. It's very modernized in a way. So it's kind of a good counterbalance how Manhattan Island is pretty much becoming, in a way, feudal England with no electricity. Basically, everything is run by like by torches and stuff. And then you get to outside the prison where everything is all tech driven. It's a good counterbalance, and Carpenter pulls that message off perfectly. Not only that, the themes in this movie you can relate to today, and it's very, very scary as to how close we can potentially be coming to him. It's very, very scary how close we could potentially mirror the events of Escape from New York in real life if things keep going the way they keep going. That's pretty much all I got to say about Escape from New York. There's a lot more I can talk about with this movie, but I could be here forever. And I don't want to be here forever. I just want to cut the review short right now. So yeah, Escape from New York is obviously going to get a 10 out of 10. I love this movie. If you have not seen Escape from New York, watch it. This movie is the epitome of sci-fi 80s action. And to me, this is one of my favorite John Carpenter movies of all time, and probably one of my favorite Kurt Russell movies of all time. It is picture perfect. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Escape from New York. Let me know yours in the comment sections down below. Like this video and subscribe, and I will check you back next time for more.